Okay, hello everyone. Welcome back. We'll now shift gears to talk about the film Frozen. So I think the whole world knows this famous song, right? Let It Go. It is a song that is on par with迪士尼最洗脑歌之一。跟大家讲个笑话。大家看过《狮子王》吗？The Lion King. And in the film, there is a part where the villain Scar, he has become king after murdering Mufasa and exiling Simba. But the bird, the imperial bird, Zazu, is in a cage. And Scar says, sing something, Zazu. He's singing now. And then he sings, "It's a small world after all." And then Scar says, no, anything but that. Do you remember this part? Seriously, if you watch The Lion King, that part is still there. And it's a joke that I did not understand as a child. I don't understand why he says that. And it's because it's a small world, 这个小小世界的世界就是哒哒哒哒哒哒，这是前一个年代的迪士尼洗脑歌，就这个小小世界，到现在大家都会嘛，对不对？哒哒哒哒哒哒哒哒哒哒哒哒哒哒 Disney, okay? Disney 洗脑歌。When I was in London last year, actually, yeah, almost this time, yeah, in London, I went to see The Lion King. In the West End, like in theater, okay, and of course this scene comes up, and Scar says, "Scar, sing something, Zazu. Let it go, no, anything but that." Yeah, so "Let It Go" has become the new Disney 洗脑歌, the new Disney song that gets stuck in your head. And it is a wonderful song, I think, "Let It Go," which is really about being true to yourself and letting your nature out, being able to let go of things that are not so important, or even if they are really important to other people, being true to who you are. And the film Frozen is about nature. And it is about sisters, the love between two siblings. The film opens, with a sort of chanting, the chanting of the north, of northern tribes, and they sing this song. They say, "Beware the frozen heart." Okay, when they're cutting the ice, they're sort of destroying nature. They're trying to symbolically, I think, talk about how you need to break through the ice and break through barriers. But we know that the power of Elsa, one of her powers, is the powers of ice. This is when they're cutting the ice, pasted. And Elsa has this power that is able for her to build a snowman with her sister Anna. And so the film opens in a very special way. No other Disney princess film begins this way. It starts from these two girls are still young kids. And "Do you want to build a snowman?" is how Anna used to convince Elsa, her older sister, to play with her. So when Elsa wants to sleep, right? Anna says, "Do you want to build a snowman?" And Elsa is able to do this for her sister with her powers. And so when she plays with these powers, what this means is that she is being true to herself. She's showing who she truly is. But in the process, she harms her sister, right? So this is a symbolic gesture, which means when I am being true to myself, I hurt the person I love the most. If I am real to myself, 做自己会伤害到最亲的人。 And so, excuse me, and so you close your powers and you learn to restrict yourself. Actually, I think this is something a lot of older siblings actually have learned to do. Okay? I am an older sibling. Okay? I have a younger sister and a younger brother, and I think growing up, I really had to learn to not be myself. You have to learn to protect your younger siblings and to care for them and to grow up, I think, and to hide parts of who you really are. I think more so than the younger siblings. Okay, I think my younger brother is more able to stay true to to be a little less reserved, let's say, put it this way. I'm more reserved in both my character and my actions, my language. He's more outspoken. And I think this is true in the film as well. It's a very realistic portrayal, I think. But the song is very sweet. After, of course, Anna's memory gets wiped, leaving the fun. And so this is why it is strange. Why would Anna still want to play with Elsa? There is a moment in the film where the troll leader tells the king and queen and Elsa that Anna will remember the fun, but not that her sister has powers. And so she will forget her sister's true nature, and then the relationship changes. It's a very sad moment, actually. I think Do You Want to Build a Snowman is among my favorite songs in Frozen. So there's a very iconic moment. This is what we call in film, this is a montage, okay, where across the song you can bridge many years, right? In the course of a few minutes, they grow up, right? This is a montage-like segment. And so Anna knocks on her sister's door. Right? Do you want to build a snowman? Okay, I've been told in the comments that I should sing a little more. So, do you want to build a snowman? Come on, let's go and play. I never see you anymore. Come out the door. It's like you've gone away. Right? It's a very innocent, a very real invitation to her sister. But of course, Elsa has to. She's more reserved. She feels like she needs to protect herself, protect Anna from herself, and so she turns Anna away. It's a very heartbreaking idea, actually, that you need to reject someone because I'm not good for you. And the song ends. Do you want to build a snowman? Ends after the girl's parents die at sea. So there's, I think, quite disturbing moment when suddenly their life changes. Okay? Their parents die, and they're left alone, and they only have each other. So the elder Elsa, older Anna, so in her teens, I imagine in her teens, 13, 14 maybe. They knocks on Elsa's door and says, "Please, I know you're in there. People are asking where you've been. They say have courage, and I'm right out here for you. Please let me in. We only have each other. It's just you and me. What are we gonna do?" And the final line in the song is, it returns to the old, do you want to build a snowman? And this final line is a call back to the old times. Right? It used to be an invitation to play, right? A real invitation, but now it is portrayed, is meant to be like 回不去了，长大了，然后memories of what cannot be, and that's how we set up this very heartbreaking relationship. None of them are wrong. There's no one evil here, but this is a sort of tragedy that happens, I think, in families quite often, actually. And then the gates open, and for some reason, Anna has become even more and more, although more tragedy has struck her life, she's still very open. And so there's this famous, for the first time in forever, where all of the gates and the windows of the castle are now open for a day so that Elsa can be coronated. A lot of music takes place at the beginning of the film. This is quite uncommon, actually. Normally it's sort of spread out in the film. But here, I think a lot happens in the first 15, 20 minutes. A lot of songs. And what does For the First Time in Forever tell us about Anna's character? I think it means she is extremely optimistic. Despite all of the tragedy she has to go through, she's still a very optimistic person. And she's not someone who needs to hide herself. She doesn't have powers. So she is able to express herself in a very real way, I think in a very open way. And so she is open to love. But she's been rejected so many times by Elsa. I find this really incredible. That although she's been on the other side of the door so many times, there is still something very optimistic about what she wants. There's something very, very enthusiastic and beautiful about how she's portrayed. And of course, she meets, I think, what is supposed to be her love, right? She wants to do this. She asks her little chicks here. And she meets who she thinks is supposed to be her true love, right? And she sings this love is an open door, which is an important metaphor in Frozen, this metaphor of a door, because she has to knock, and there's a door that separates the sisters, and there's also a door that separates the castle from the outside village. And so when she says love is an open door, and this is a metaphor, right? That with love you can bridge this problem. And this hints at, actually, although it's a funny story, it's a funny song, it hints to what will happen later in the film. So Elsa ultimately discovers that if she can control, the way to control her powers is through love. And this tells us that she was not loved as a young girl in the way that she was supposed to have been. And this is a very nice metaphor. Okay, something else about this song worth mentioning. There's so much to talk about in so short time. But the song, if you listen to the way they sing it, there's some language here that is not very conventional. So there's a line that says, "We finish each other's sandwiches," right? It's supposed to be sentences, but they changed this line. And if you are not a student of English, you might not catch this. Why do they say that, right? It's because we finish each other's sentences. Is the conventional way of saying it. So something to remember when you listen to this part of the song. And of course, in the part of the coronation that passes, Elsa, she tells Anna that you can't marry someone that you've just met. Okay, and so what is Snow White going to do, right? Or what is Cinderella going to do? This is, in some ways, it is looking back and revising the tradition of the Disney princess, saying that, okay, that's not a good idea. We were wrong at the time, or times have changed. And I think that's a good thing, that Elsa says this sort of thing, as the Snow Queen that she is. Okay, so I like to make this joke, right? This is the 骑着白马的烂男人, right? Very, it's a good joke, anyway. But I think this is a kind of evil, a kind of manipulation that is a lot more evil, I think. If you have like a wicked stepmother who poisons you or murders you, at least she's straight about it, right? I hate you, I'm going to attack you, right? But pretending to love someone is kind of worse, I think. manipulating a person to trust and love you, when you are actually you're lying. Right? This is I think quite evil, a lot more evil than straight up hate. The famous "Let It Go." Actually, the lyrics are very difficult to unpack. Everyone just remembers the part, like "Let it go." There are words that I had to look up when I first heard "Let It Go." There is a word called fractals. And what are fractals? Students, I will ask you this question in the worksheet if you want extra self-learning points. I'll ask you to interpret what this part is. But we can say that snow is part of Elsa's nature. And so when she uses the word fractals, spiraling, it's sort of describing her power and her nature in a very poetic way, I think. Of course, the message of "Let It Go" is the cold never bothered me anyway. In other words, we are saying that I don't mind being cold. I don't mind being alone and outside. I don't mind being an outsider. And that is a powerful statement, right? Belle does this implicitly, but Elsa states it out. She says, hey, I don't want any of the social constraints that are put upon me. I can stay true to myself. And this change is quite significant. The story doesn't really tell us why she is able to do this. There's I think, a connection in the characterization that I couldn't really understand. Why does she choose to escape? How does she come to the decision to let it go? I'm not quite sure. How does she arrive at this understanding that she can live by herself on this mountain in her own ice castle? What does it mean in the story? I think you will find answers a little bit better if you look at the original source. But how does she do this? She basically, right, she flees the castle. How does she arrive at this self-declaration, let it go? I think it's something we can think about. Not quite sure, but something worth thinking about. Of course, in the end, we learned something very, very important, which is true love comes from family. This is the message that Frozen is trying to give, and a revision of the past. In Snow White, true love comes from true love's kiss, right? True love's first kiss when you are lying there, 当你是尸体的时候, right? When you are lying there, Prince will come up and 把你捡走. All right, okay, that's basically the idea in Snow White, right? When she is cursed, there is a prince that kisses her and saves her. And that's true love, as defined in conventional terms. But an act of true love in Frozen is defined not by romantic relationships, but by family acts, like an act of self-sacrifice in family. Yeah. And so of course Anna goes and basically she saves Elsa by sacrificing herself. There's a moment, a very powerful moment in the film where Anna becomes like a statue of ice. And that's a very powerful statement, that sisters are willing to die for each other. Is there any other Disney princess film that shows this so clearly? I don't think so, and that's why it's a revolution. That sisters or siblings are willing to sacrifice themselves for the other person. Okay, very strong statement, a very successful statement to have, and I think a lot of sisters, a lot of families encourage this message too. That love comes from those who you don't agree with all the time. Love is with those who are closest to you, not some outside fantasy. that will waltz in and save you your life. Okay, I think our time is almost up, but I like to ask. Okay, I didn't cut enough slides, so I'll leave it here with an image of Elsa. But are there any questions from the audience or from students here? Please, about Beauty and about Mulan and about Frozen. Are there any questions or comments? I'll leave it for you all to think about. Are there any questions?
Yes.
Yes.
Woman says, Anna loves his sister and she believes love can overcome everything.
Mm-hmm.
However, she does not understand Elsa needs her, and her country is for her own good.
Mm-hmm. I think that it's a very good comment, I think. Elsa is certainly, she's a queen in her own right, but I think there are problems in the story. A lot of people point to this, that there are problems in the story of how they were raised. There are problems in how these young girls were raised to learn about themselves. I have called the raising of Elsa some kind of abuse, because you shouldn't do this to your child, right? Whose nature is something different. Some have interpreted the story saying that Elsa's nature is a metaphor for homosexuality. That she's different, right? She has a certain nature that is different from other people, and she doesn't have a love interest, right? She doesn't have a male love interest. So people have interpreted the story of Frozen in this way. And if that's the case, then therefore her role as a ruler is not so important. It's about herself. And so there are gaps in the story, actually, of Frozen. Some people don't understand the story very much in terms of how they are motivated. Apart from the sisterhood, the sisters are portrayed very realistically. Okay, so that's a good question, good comment. Any others from the audience? No? Anyone want to say anything? No? Okay, next time, students, one of the things that I have taught is I've taught musicals in the past. I've also taught Pixar films. So next time I will either choose musicals or Pixar films, and there will again be a process of voting. You can vote for whichever musical or Pixar film on the list that you want to learn more about. And so I think the choices will be The Phantom of the Opera, there will be Les Miserables, maybe Hamilton, Beauty and the Beast, the musical, if you want to see it. There will be some choices. And I think you can look forward to some more singing if you like that sort of thing. Okay, so I want to thank you all very much for participating in our live broadcast today. I hope you've learned something. If you want to earn more self-learning points, a question sheet, a task sheet will be uploaded to Google Forms, and the library will announce it on Monday. Okay, so thank you all very much. I'll see you all next time.